Hi, this is Kendra from Pencil and Pigment, and today is my weekly Plan With Me video. All the supplies and everything I used to make this planner and have this one are linked in the description box below. Let's get started. So we will go to the weekly spread for July and start filling this out. And okay, it's a whole lot of birds. My ideas for what I wanted to do this challenge have just morphed and changed a lot. So I did an African vulture yesterday, and then I did a band-tailed pigeon. We're just going back in time. And some of these I've never drawn before. A chipping sparrow. I did chipping sparrows. I did 2 on this one. The smaller birds I'm trying to incorporate to fill the page a little bit better. I did a raven, which looks an awful lot like a crow. I did Carolina wrens. There's 2 on this one. Wrens are cute. Such a cute bird. A screech owl. And then this was finishing up my boats and birds from the previous one, and I did seagulls. Okay, so this was week 26 video. I know. June is all done. Well done. We are over halfway through with the year. And this was a sketchbook tour. So that means if you're looking at the goals or resolutions or plans you made for 2025, you should be around halfway through hitting your goal. If you're not, my best piece of advice would be to take your goal and chunk it into even smaller bits that are more manageable and try it that way. And if your goal isn't working for you because things pop up, I mean, life gets crazy, figure out ways to maybe divide it and put some into 2026. Don't be discouraged. This is just how life is sometimes. Okay, this is my gallon leather with a Nolte cover. Okay, and I've designed my own sketchbook to make this work for me. So this was finishing up the first half of the year. I did nothing but portraits, and then I started to incorporate a little bit of animal. And because now we're going to get into animals. So let's animal over here and write our notes over here. Boy, these sometimes rip the page. My page flags are aggressive. Okay, I'm going to zoom in real quick. All right, here is half the page blown up. Now I am using a warm Copic multiliner in gray, and it's really close to what a pencil looks like. If you're thinking of a permanent alternative for pencil, that pen tends to do it. Okay, and it will be linked down below. So I drew 7 bird drawings. I know, it's a lot. And I'm incorporating trees. So what I'm doing is I'm watercoloring trees and then doing like a pen and ink bird. And I'm trying to match the tree to the bird, so it's accurate. Like this is a tree that grows in Africa, this is an African vulture. Like I'm trying to make sure that this stuff makes sense. Like you would find these birds with aspens. And then I'm loosely following along with the prompts. It's okay. So I need to continue tree bird research to make sure things are accurate. You wouldn't want the wrong bird to show up. Like you wouldn't want a specific, like an aspen, and then I draw an ostrich, unless I'm going for something more surreal. Like it's all strategic. So think about how you curate and design your illustrations and your paintings and how you work on your stuff. Do you want that level of whimsy of finding a thing that wouldn't actually be there, or do you want it more accurate? Like it's, you know, it's your discretion. So, yes. Week 26 video, and then a sketchbook tour. There won't be another sketchbook tour until the first week of August. And that's when I will be done with my July. I'm just doing one a day. The time it's taking me to do them, I could do 2 a day, but I finished up like 3 different drawing projects in June, and so I'm going to relax this month by only doing the 1 drawing challenge, and that is how I relax and make sure I don't overwhelm myself when I do back-to-back drawing challenges. So I'll have a burst where I get a bunch done, and then I'll have a relaxing month, and then a burst. Like, I try and toggle that. Okay, I am just using pen and ink today. So this is my Rotring Isograph. This is my 0.2. And the ink I'm using is one I just picked up. So this is the Transmix Media Brilliant Ink. This is by Koh-i-Noor. You can see that right there on the bottom. Now it says this ink is really good for archival, waterproof, paper, wood, metal, plastic, glass, ceramics, and more. I'm just doing paper, but good grief. It's translucent Prussian blue. Sounds like fun. I'm going to do a pencil board just because this is such a fine tip nib. I don't want to scratch anything or indent anything below it. And I decided to do a pachyderm today. So we are going to draw an elephant, and we're just going to... I should pre-sketch things. I just don't. I don't know. I got out of the practice, and so we're just going to wing it. And I love jewel tones. I love this blue. I think this blue is stunning. If you're into darker blues. Like, I have plenty of regular cheap pen blue. You know that blue? Like the Bic blue? That's such a blue everybody knows and understands. Anyway, so I'm working on ear here. I don't know. I'm all over the map today. I did tons and tons of yard work over the weekend and cleaned up a huge section of rocks because we're not landscaping with rocks. We're filling everything in with plants and stuff. So we had to get rid of the rock. Oh my God, my back says, no thank you. Let's not do that ever again. Oh. So, are you doing any July challenges? Are you doing World Watercolor Month? Are you doing One Notebook July? If you're not familiar with that is, I will explain it. One Notebook July is a sort of challenge some people do in the month of July where they look at their planner system that they've been using for half the year and they combine it to all one notebook and you only use one notebook for the entire month. And the reason people do this is to see what is actually necessary and what's, erroneous or redundant, what's a need, what's a want. It really helps pare down because sometimes when things go on sale and everybody's rushing out to buy all the products, folks want to try all the different sizes, all the different types, and then they end up getting a bunch of things that they don't actually need or end up using, or they end up changing how they do their stuff mid-year because it's just not working for them. So One Notebook July sort of forces you to look at all the things you're currently using and really evaluate what's necessary and what isn't. What can you live without? What can't you live without? Like, how does your brain really like organizing? How does your brain take to trying to mush it all into one book? And there's a few videos. If you go on YouTube and you type in One Notebook July, you will see different creators talking about it. I think the videos are older. I think this is something that a challenge that went on last year and a couple years ago, and it was really big, and I don't think it's big anymore, but there's still value in it because the season of things going on sale, and by things I just mean planners and notebooks and stuff, is coming up soon. Like Hobonichi has a really big one, and once all those planners go up for sale, like the buying and the haul videos come out and people are unboxing large quantities of planners of things that they need, and they have a planner for reading, for writing, for health, for gardening, for like all these different things, their work life, their home life. Like you'll see somebody in a box, like at least half a dozen planners, and that's not unusual. So One Notebook July really gets to the heart of what's actually important and what you can't live without. And some people like start One Notebook July and they're like, I couldn't finish it, I couldn't do it, I couldn't make it work. I ended up using digital things with this. And then you know what's important. You have to have some sort of digital aspect. And maybe you don't need quite as many planners. And in the long run, this just teaches you about you, and it teaches you about what you actually need, and it can help you save money, and it can help you organize. So I think this is a really cool challenge. I don't overbuy with my planners. I only ever did one planner for my YouTube, for my stuff. I have a whole like planning system, but it's homeschool notes, appointment book, my journal, my bullet journal, which is just a rolling to-do list of everything around the house. We have an older home, so there's always projects to be done. Yeah, this guy and the one I just showed for my YouTube. And yeah, we have a medical book because, yeah, a lot of health things going on with my family and autoimmune diseases. So I have a whole system. So to do One Book July, I don't buy tons of stuff. I've switched to the Moleskine Expanded. It's the 400. A lot of people hate it because the paper's so thin and everything bleeds and goes. I don't care that everything bleeds and goes. That's not, I like having 400 pages neatly contained. I like that it's not too thick. I like that sometimes it goes on sale and I can get it for, you know, $20 US. I just watch and wait. I think right now it's on sale for $25, so I'll just wait that out because I'm not spending that much for it. So yeah, there's that. That's kind of my planning system, but I don't buy a ton of planners. I just make other products work for what I currently need. So, and a lot of that's trial and error. I purchase different planners every year. I started with a Typa, which was from Etsy. It's from Estonia, and it was a recycled book that was getting dumped, and they take these old books and they turn them into other products. I started with that one. I did a Hobonichi Weeks. I really, really liked it, which is why this is patterned in a weekly way. But the grid paper kind of, it wasn't something I needed. Let's see, what else have I done? I did a Midori, and that had the monthly spreads, and it had a really huge, like chunky note section with lined pages in the back, and that was really, really nice. Like I've tried a few different ones. I did the Midori Habino, and I just turned that into a sketchbook. So, but those were one every single year. It wasn't like that. For keeping track of my books, I'm on Goodreads, and otherwise there's no way I could keep track of what I want to read and what I've already read. So I have that digital, and that's free. I am a huge reader. Huge. Let's see, what else? Oh, my gardening. I do have a garden notebook. It is a graph paper composition book, and that is something we already owned in this house for a job I did. I did a gardening job for a school. I know. I'm an avid gardener. So I'm just using the products I have. I don't really have, I don't watch a lot of movies anymore. I don't watch a lot of TV shows. We don't even own a TV. I am kind of aware of the shows that are available. Maybe not. Sometimes I watch movie trailers on YouTube, so I kind of know what's going on, and then I don't end up seeing any of the movies. So the movies I do end up watching are kid-based, like we take our kids to the show, the movie theater. I'm trying to think. I don't know, maybe 9 times a year. It's not a lot. There's so many other fun activities to do where we live, and hiking and beach and stuff, and our kids are really active, and they like video games. So we don't do a lot of movie TV. So I would have no reason to keep any sort of log or journal for things I'm watching, because I'm just not watching anything. When I'm on a huge tear, sometimes I will audiobook and listen to audiobooks of a series and go with that. Boy, this is scratchy. I hope that's okay for you. But yeah, I spend my money on sketchbooks. We know this about me, hence my no buy and my low buy and all the things I'm always doing. So yeah, I am contemplating the 5-year Hobonichi. I'll tell you right now, I am contemplating that. I've been contemplating that one for years. And not because I want to spend 5 years filling it. I want to do what you're not supposed to do with it. I want to try a visual journal, because my journal is all words. It's like Big Pen, it's all words. It's thoughts, feelings, emotions, what I'm having a hard time with. And it's really been a great thing. I've been doing it for over 800 days now. I measure it out in moleskin books. So I know it's been over 800 days. Every single day, back to back to back. So I'm doing well with that, but I thought maybe, because there's some older 5-year ones on eBay, 5-year Hobonichis, that I would pick up an older one. It doesn't really matter what year it starts with. That I would fill it and try and do a visual journal, like an art therapy visual journal. And obviously it would be incredibly personal and sort of private, but maybe I could show bits and pieces if you're curious. I don't know. We have a lot of like really unique things going on. Again, autoimmune diseases and the medical industry, and we're having a tough time with some of this stuff. So it's like my journal is doing a lot of heavy lifting, and I just wondered if incorporating a visual component with the writing component would add to that sort of benefit of everything you get from journaling. So I'm toying with that idea, because I don't want to buy a brand new one. I don't care if it's brand new. I don't care if it's the right year. I'm not fancy. I'm not fancy. I just want to know if maybe adding drawing would help me out a little bit in some of my stress relief, and I think it might. So I might be scouring eBay and trying to find things and figure that out for December. I know a lot of folks buy the 5-year Hobonichi, and sometimes they're not able to fill it, or they drop it because they forget to do like huge swaths and chunks of it. And that's kind of what happens with those. I had a 1 line a day. I will throw up the one I had. I loved it because I thought it was like stars in the sky, which are beautiful. And I was just writing down what I, like a sentence of what I did every day, but all my days were really similar. Like dropped the kids off at school, came home, worked out, drew. I do a lot of biking. I bicycle a lot. So that was pretty much, it was just the same thing every day. And I'm like, wow, this is the most boring. And I was on year 2 or 3 and they were all identical. And that was the wrong use for that book. Like, I see the instructions and I see what people say, like this is how you should use it, this is how you should do it, and then I need to ignore that completely and do it my own way. Like the Habino, the Midori Habino diary, and that whole thing. And people are like, well, it's sort of a diary, it's a planner, and I just used it as a sketchbook, and that was a success for me. So I really need to sort of break out of the mold of what is recommended for certain products and what people say they enjoy doing with it, and I need to do my own thing. Because I get such a bigger benefit when I go my own direction with stuff. So if you're interested in seeing how I fill a 5-year Hobonichi, that may be something that happens in 2026. Because I don't think I will take 5 years to fill it. Okay, so here is part of my elephant. I know this is so scratchy. I apologize if this sound is grating while you're trying to listen. Okay, so here is my elephant, and I'm just stippling for extra textures. And again, the pachyderm family of elephant, hippo, rhino, they have such unique skin. So lots of fun little textures, and you can practice a bunch of little drawing elements, hatching, cross-hatching, stippling. It's a good excuse to incorporate texture and stuff. Okay, so here's my elephant baby. I do love them. They're matriarchal. The eldest female is typically the boss applesauce, and it could be the grandmother, the great-grandmother. Asian elephants versus African elephants. I know that the female Asian elephants do not have tusks, so that's what I assume this is. The African female elephants do have tusks. So there are some differences. So I'm going to assume I drew an Asian one. Yeah, and I could just keep going with the fun texture and making sure that I've blended out shadow and highlight and things. Okay. All right, let's do some birds. Let's do some birds while I remember. Anyway. Elephants are really cool. There's a bunch of like fun videos on YouTube of elephants doing really unique things, like throwing away trash and listening to folks play the piano. This is a very fine tip pen. That's okay. All right, so here is my illustration. Here is my weekly spread. I hope you enjoyed this. If you're trying out One Book July, let me know how it's going. I'm curious. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful week, and I will talk to you later. Bye.